Okay, here we go. It's difficult to be precise in respect to the sequence of events. Certainly, the spider-bot told me something would happen, and something happened. But the spider-bot's telling seemed to at once initiate the beginning and precede it. That is to say, there was a time before the haunting, because what the spider-bot did was what it was supposed to do, foresee. But there was also a way in which the haunting began in that moment I read the text on the screen. Months, I think, before the ghost actually appeared. And it's not as if the spider-bot said what would happen in so many words. Did not say ghost or haunting, for whatever that's worth. Still, I have no doubt about what's happened. I've my uncertainties to the timeline is all. The sequence, rather. I think I had it right the first time. Let me try. At the edge of the negation, in a dark room, the spider-bot told me I would die. The sky shifted along its gradient, as it does, however many times. The ghost came. That seems almost certainly right, sequentially. But what I have trouble pinning down is the moment of the haunting's inception. That's what seems most important, because the sequence, and wherever it is the moment of haunting origin sits along that length, would in turn implicitly suggest the entity responsible for the haunting itself. The ghost is haunting me, for sure. But it might also be said that the spider-bot is haunting me, or haunted me until the ghost appeared, or haunts me now still via the ghost as conduit. My death is located somewhere in there. Like my death exists somewhere along a line, the sequence, between the spider-bot's telling me of it and the appearance of the ghost. And then perhaps I might draw a large circle around the whole of the line, and its 2 points, and label that, quote, haunting. But let me try to locate myself. The ghost is outside even now, standing beneath the tree, smoking a cigarette. I don't have to look to know. There is a particular technique I've mastered. To sit just so at my desk, eyes directed straight ahead at the screen, careful not to move my head in the slightest, so that the window remains steady in my right periphery, and outside the dark form in half-light. The ghost wants to always hold my attention in some way, or to some degree. And when I keep him there, a dark outline against the edge of my eye, he seems satisfied enough. We reach a kind of understanding or equilibrium in which he allows me to function, so much as I can, all things considered. The moment I turn my head, he might come inside, a scraping from downstairs, a whispering through the vents. He's subscribed me to many email newsletters. He's had a number of unmarked packages shipped to my house under my name. When I awoke this morning, there was a video awaiting playback on my phone. I hit play, saw myself appear prone and sleeping on the hollow screen. Something black and gooey began to accumulate at the corners of my mouth. Then my body lifted from the bed and began to float upwards. I shut it off. The video was 27 minutes long. I deleted it without watching any more, and then I removed an engorged tick from behind my left ear. I'd asked the spider-bot questions about the bog, my parents, and brother, about Rick. More recently, I've tried asking it about the ghost, but the spider-bot does not seem to know about the ghost. Perhaps I will rotate my head. The figure is still there, reflected along the curve of my eyeball, and beyond my bedroom door, the hallway and stairwell are dark. The microwave turns on downstairs. It makes sense. It seems right that one would be haunted in Magazine City. The ghost looks neo-noir, smoking a cigarette beneath the orange plasma sky. Again, I don't have to look to know these things. I see him even when I don't look. The body. In a room, in the grid of Magazine City, perhaps, for instance, Rick lying prone on his back at the center of his bed. Does it matter? The spaces and places slide and lock into their slots, or some slot, for the moment, that elusive yet inescapable yet always being left behind present. And then, just when the layout might possibly be glimpsed, there comes the recalibration. The Fluorescent City, they say. It's kind of an endearing name. Like Magazine City, it's suggestive. Looks good in shimmering font across a screen. But most of us have lived here our whole lives, and the glow has a way of dulling the eyes. It's difficult, to imagine another place. When I try to picture a city other than this one, I can only do so inside of a screen. The other city is never a city itself, but rather an image, a specific series of camera angles I've seen on TV, an advertisement downtown. It shows a place where the sky is not orange, or rather, the sky is only orange when it's appropriate. And even neon is a kind of aphrodisiac, or provides stylized lighting angles. I'm thinking about this specific ad for vodka, in which the brand's signature robot, her smooth features accentuated with neon detailing, dances in a strobing nightclub to some synthy jam. Here, there is a hamburger place off every interstate exit. From my parents' bedroom, directly below my own, I hear a sound like a theremin that was recorded on a tape deck and is now being played backwards, a hitching laser loop. Specifically, it seems to be coming from directly below where I sit at this desk. I've forgotten about the ghost for a little while. I've forgotten to hold him out the window against the curvature of my eye. The sound is wee-wooing through the hardwood. There is a scraping too, like two long nails are doing permanent damage to infrastructure somewhere. I stand and turn towards my not quite closed door, move my eyes slowly along the thin black rectangle of dark between door and door jamb. In the hallway, standing before the closed door of my brother's old room, I stare back at my own door. From this side, the image is almost a perfect negative of the view from the other. White door now black, thin, modular opening, glowing now bright. A rectangle of light falls enlarged and deformed near my face. Against the wall, near my brother's door, which I can now see is shivering, writhing. From within the room I can hear new sounds, buttons being pressed, something limp dragged across gravel. When I open the door, there is a huge vinyl cocoon hanging at the center of the otherwise empty room. It throbs, rotates slowly. There are black and white photographs on the wall that I've never seen before. One is of me looking in on the room as I am now. Something yellowish drips from the tip of the cocoon and steams on the floor below. I get on the internet and Google ghost that looks like Willem Dafoe. I wonder if he got to choose a face, wherever and whatever he was before he was here. I wonder if he chose me. I Google how to ward off ghosts. One website tells me to anoint the entrance to my house with olive oil. I sprinkle salt, oregano, boogers, whatever, around all the drains and vents and electrical outlets. In the yard, I collect sticks, break them into 7-inch segments, lean them angled against and around the whole of my house. I cut some of my favorite words from books and string them into a necklace. I kneel facing the window and try to pray for some time. In the morning, when I awake and go to pee, there is a pile of black snakes knotted at the bottom of the toilet. They don't want you to know these kinds of things, by which I mean piles of snakes writhing in toilet bowls. On the TV, they don't want you to know about magazine cities, so they cut to palm trees and handsome people. There is no orange sky. There is no representation of Mag City. There is no magazine city. There is no outside magazine city. All is negated via the TV's logic. The television feeds come from nowhere, and they are displayed nowhere for us, or nobody. Okay, so... You're not done with me yet, though, actually. So, as I was saying, I kind of explained what the video is supposed to be, so it's a visual representation, I think, of the project in a lot of ways. And there's some other text from the book over the video, so read by, and it's from various different characters, some from Jean, which you just heard from, and some from others, but that's not so important. Okay, so I'm gonna just watch this with you guys. I hope that the sound works also. Cool, it does. Can somebody hit the lights?
In a room in the middle of Magazine City. Perhaps, for instance, Rick lying prone on his back at the center of his bed. Does it matter? The spaces and places slide and lock into their slots or sub-slot for the moment. That elusive yet inescapable, yet always being left behind, present. And then, just when the layout might possibly be glimpsed, there comes the complete recalibration. There is always another line of code. The present line writes and implies the following, or vice versa. Or both are the present and or following lines always. The spider bot answers a question I type about spatial relations between my body and Rick's. It answers a question about all the rooms I will stand in during my lifetime. The spider bot says Chandler is dead. It expounds an extensive list of cheeseburger toppings consumed in Magazine City over the next 3 years as a means towards explicating the speed at which the bomb will rise. They piecing together cameras for the holes, lest something else went down. Or what if something had come up? Then, later, more cameras, of course, in case there were more holes. The scope had to be widened. It was natural, you see. It was implied from the beginning and not by me. You know this. This world spins, isn't that strange? Always in the same direction it is spinning. You do one thing, then maybe you do the same thing again. But the world is somewhere else, has placed you somewhere else, rendered your reenactment useless. The video, if nothing else, has been shown to contain something. The video puts something out. The most arbitrary and intentionless rearrangement of the network's topology might produce anything. A finger pulling a trigger and a momentary deletion of the sky. The city punched through the ground, out the other side, and suspended upside down. The most imperceptible recalibration of Rick's REM fluctuations. A mouth closing around the city. The bog rising, the sky thickening and coming down. The mouth is closing in the same way that it is already closed. An orbiting satellite could see this. The buildings will be slotted into the sky. 10 years, 15 years, 3 years, less. Bog to sky, sky to bog. The negation will fold back up. Flat planes slide to form a multi-dimensional cube. A closing, a lock-in. Satellites no longer able to access the city. One is in or out. After the planescapes are locked in, there can be no leaving or arriving. There can be no before or after. There can be no I will, I was.